How do I sign into a different Gmail account? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. It's not uncommon for people to have more than one Gmail account. I know I have, well, a few. There's two I use primarily, but I've got some others for testing, as we'll see here in a moment. The problem, though, is that when you're logged into one and you want to use the other, how do you get there from here? I'm going to give you three approaches to the problem. The one that is the easiest, the one that is the most commonly used, and then the one that I use instead. That's not for everybody. So the first one is actually very simple. Here we are in Gmail. This is the askleotest@gmail.com account. So if I wanted to sign into a different account, all I would have to do is sign out of this one and then use another account, use my askleotest2 account, and boom, I'm now in the second account. This would be one way to switch between accounts if you don't spend a lot of time switching back and forth. This is a great way to just use this account for a while and then use that same technique to use the other account. Now, that's the first approach. Like I said, it's probably the easiest, but it's also probably the least useful. The more useful approach is actually now supported by Google themselves. They didn't used to, but they do now. And that's simply this. If I now click on my profile icon, you'll see that there are not just my askleotest2@gmail.com, but askleotest@gmail.com. In other words, it remembered the account that I had signed into originally. All I need to do here is click in Sign In. And once again, it's asking me to sign in with that account. And boom, I have a new tab with the other account. So this way, right now, we're taking a look at askleotest@gmail.com. However, over here, askleotest2@gmail.com. These are two different accounts that I can interact with simultaneously if I want to. They're just in two different tabs. Now, there is something that I'm going to call the catch of using multiple tabs for multiple accounts in a single browser. And that's simply this. Google is a lot more than just Gmail. So if I go over here to ye old waffle icon, and I decide I want to go look at Google Drive. Google Drive is here somewhere. There it is. So I'll click on Google Drive. Two things will happen. One, it will open a new tab on Google Drive, but it will do so for whichever account I happened to be in at the time. So since I was looking at askleotest2 at the time, I hit the waffle icon in the upper right-hand corner. The Google Drive window that opened up is associated with askleotest2. Great. That means, of course, that if I go over to askleotest and I do the same thing, I can open up Google Drive here, and I now have two emails open up, one for askleotest and one for askleotest2. And I have two Google Drives opened up, one for askleotest and one for askleotest2. It is incredibly easy to forget and open up the wrong one. For example, you notice I've got a couple of documents here. Well, let's say we're back here and I want to get those documents, but the last email I read was in askleotest2. Now, I want to go to Google Drive to see those documents. I forget that I'm in the wrong account. I hit the waffle, I hit Google Drive, and my files aren't there. Well, the reason they're not there is I'm looking at the wrong account. What I need to do is go back over to the account that has them, the askleotest account, and do the waffle icon there. And sure enough, there are my files. The other thing you can do, if you are so inclined, is, say I'm going to open up contacts here, which is another common thing to use. These are the contacts associated with askleo test 2, since that's where I started. The other approach to getting to the other set of contacts is to click on the profile icon in the upper right, and now click on the other account. That will also open up another tab on the same feature, in this case, contacts, but on the account that you clicked on. And this one has something in the contacts, and this one doesn't, so we know they're different. So this is, I would call it the recommended approach. It is the most flexible. It lets you use basically any service on any Gmail account simultaneously in a single browser. Works great. You just kind of sort of have to keep track of which account you're working in as you traverse all of these different tabs. My approach is a little different. In fact, I'll call it a bit of a blend. I do have one browser open that has my personal Gmail, but if I also need to take a look at a Gmail account for someone else, like say my wife's Gmail account, I'll do this. I will open it up as another tab in the same browser. However, I have another browser open, and in that browser, I have my work account. I have my work accounts, because of course there's many. This is me kind of sort of managing how I interact with things. I have one browser dedicated to non-work things and another browser dedicated to work things. That implies, of course, that I have two browsers installed. Well, actually, I have 5 browsers installed, but that's a different story. The bottom line here is that if I want to do something on my personal stuff, I go to my Brave installation and fire that up. And if I want to go do something on askleo, I fire up Chrome. And that's the default there, is it will open up my work accounts. And in fact, I have a third one. Because I do some work for a nonprofit, I have Firefox installed, and it's set up to default to all of the nonprofit's accounts. So that's another way of managing all this, is to simply use separate browsers for separate worlds. It works really well, but I can still use the multi-tab interface, the multiple accounts interface that I've shown you here, as another way to basically deal with other accounts without necessarily needing to fire up yet another browser. So now, hopefully, you've got some good ideas on different ways that you can manage multiple Gmail accounts, and pick the approach that works the best for you. If nothing else, I would have you start with the multiple accounts in the same browser, solution number 2. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/168937. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.